Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel, Art Classes My Way. You do see this finished, but fear not, I just merely forgot to record my intro, so it's a little bit out of sequence. But please do enjoy the video, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Time to get the finished and done with. So what I'm going to do, I've tacked both of these corners down. This one doesn't slide nearly as much going this direction as this one does. It does like to wiggle a little bit, so keep that in mind as you're tacking things down, that not everything ends up being exactly how you're going to want it to be. And I'm going to just cut this pointy end off here real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and give this a curl. Now, if you like to curl the ends, or you like to curl ends, but you always hate how it always ends up with this bump where that little round bit is, a couple things you can do. You can kind of give it a little bit of a squeeze with your square nose, kind of take him in a little bit early. And you guys get out of my way. Now, this is part of the reason why I have tape on my square nose here, so that way I can squeeze a hold. The tape acts very gently and kind of softens some of the hard edges on my square nose, so that way I do not make any tool marks. Now if you grab a hold of it correctly here, by grabbing a hold of the whole piece, I'm able to go ahead and just turn it this way, and that'll give you these nice curls, and you don't have to worry about getting those little bumps when you're using your round nose. I'm going to go ahead and go in here and tighten up a little bit and roll. Rolling, rolling, rolling. There we are. And same for that side. Go ahead and use my round nose to get started. Out of the way. I'm just grabbing a hold of the edge. I have to retape that. Let's turn this. Grabbing hold of it with the edge with my tape. Flatten it out a little bit there. And I'm going to just continue to roll. Now, by grabbing hold of this outside area, you don't want to grab hold of anywhere where the wire's doubled up. Like here's one wire, here's the second wire. You don't want to grab hold of those areas because you'll end up sending this wire underneath or on top. And that either one is not very appealing to try to fix. So in order to tighten that curl, that's when I grab a hold of the body of the wire, but where it's singular, and then you just tighten it up. Flatten that down, and now I consider that back done. Out of my way, no more pieces I have to fight. It's always nice. Now, just in case, I'm going to make sure that my cord is nice and symmetrical through here, so that way it's dangling on the bottommost part of the cord before I start up this next part. And again, as I've stated before, if you wanted to just end right here, all you have to do is cut these guys about in here, or even maybe a little bit closer. I wouldn't recommend down near the weave itself, but you can just go ahead and maybe even curl those guys just a little bit more to where they end pointing downwards on the back here, and then just cut them. And then you can use this for maybe a ring or a bracelet piece, or there's plenty of length there that you could do multiple things with on either one. So that's one way to end that. Again, you can always take this wire, curl it all the way around, and you could just end him there if you want to, or you can take him, curl him, and wrap him around, which I'm going to do. pulled too tight and I ended up pulling him off to the side there. I didn't want that. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut him. Boop, let go. I'm going to give myself just a little bit of extra length. Small amount. Make sure I cut with the flat of my cutters, nippers. Go ahead and kind of tuck that little tail in there. There we have it. Now that ends pretty much that whole extra wire there. I can use this for so many things. So he's going to go into the scrap bin. He's plenty long to do all kinds of stuff with. And this wire, what he had ended up doing, I thought maybe I'll incorporate him in another way, but I sat and thought about it. It's been a couple of days since where we last left off, the last jump, and just thinking about it, and it's like, no. When I pulled it over and showed you guys, I just liked it too much. So I just did it and just keep it that way. It's not like we can't add more base wires on after the fact. I'm gonna just kind of get these guys a little bit more to the side here. There we go. And I'll play with that a little bit more later on, but that ends. The whole purpose of that wire was to put something in this hole so that way it didn't look like, oh, they just didn't use the hole that was pre-drilled in it. Kind of gives it a sense of that the wire, obviously it is going into it, but it allows the wire to feel like maybe it's multiple dimensional weaving itself through the actual stone. So that gives us that appearance. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of round these guys, wind them really around this black cord here a little bit. Keeping them nice and close. And now I want to kind of think about just how a necklace hangs. I don't want it to have this, you know, oh, well, it's hanging in straight up this way. I actually want it to have a little bit of a curve to it, just a softer curve than what you would typically see from a pendant. This will give it a little bit of a sense of being different. Okay, see, like that. So that's what these wires are here for, is to give that, help me build a structure that incorporates this black cord overall. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of wrap a little bit more. Now, it's not going to be too decorative until I get past these shoulders here. And then I'm thinking I want to do a drop down. So just kind of lightly coil. And I'm just doing this with my fingers. Now, it won't do you any good to twist the two together. It'll be a completely different look. Pretty much I'm just holding this black cord out and using my fingers to make it look like I want it to look. So that way it's gently holding on to that black cord. And now I want to come in here with this guy and pretty much follow the other dude, like so. See, that's already looking very pleasant. And I think I want to go a little bit more past that shoulder, or I can go ahead and give this guy a little bit of a dip. And he is the longer one. He's longer than this one anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll that all the way around my round nose. I might be able to only get 2 of these by the time I'm done with the whole thing. I want that nice and fairly tight. I don't want it to be a very big hoop. I'll go ahead and just give it a little squish. There. Roll around the back until it's facing upwards. There we are. Now this guy I'll deal with in a moment. Now I'm going to take this and put it right on top, right here, the second part of the round nose. Put that right around to the side, just a little bit. I'm going to roll it back over that way. And then I'm going to start, once again, forming this with my fingers. I'm going to start trying to get him to curl upwards just a little bit. And do the same again, except the first hoop, I'm going to make two hoops here. The first one, I'm going to make it very small compared to the last one we just did. Alright, that's about where I want it. So what I want to do is basically what I did for this top part here to get this hoop or this curl to go around. I'm going to put my round nose in there, kind of go off at a little bit of an angle. That was a little weird. And then I'm going to take that wire and give it a bend. And I'm going to put in a little bit bigger of a coil there. Actually, let's go even bigger than that. See, I want this to be a little bit more exaggeratedly larger. There we go. Go ahead and finish rounding this guy out. And then I'm just going to hook him around the black cord. And we can see he's not touching himself there, so I'm going to come in here with the corner of my square nose, come in at a bit of an angle, hopefully you guys can see that, and I'm going to pinch it inwards so that way it just curls a little bit more around that wire like so, and now it's nice and safe to deal with. Now we can get to shaping that wire just a little bit more a little later once we get this guy on. Now I'm going to make this guy pretty much, oh, that finger's going to go. I'm going to make him pretty much follow exactly what I've done. Should be able to do it with my fingers, no problem. Except for maybe that. I want it to follow very tightly. So we'll put that through there, there. This way it all feels like something living and growing. Now instead of going and following all this stuff like I did over here, instead I'm going to just make it continue for one more wrap. Now it's going to be a little wrap. And I'm going to put a leaf on it. That way it feels very organic and growing. Cut off that sharp bit there. Now I grab a hold of pretty much the middle here. This is going to act, think of it for now, because it won't be in the end. Think of this as the middle of your stem, you know, the part of the leaf that, I'll show you here. You have your leaf, and then you have the middle part. For now, where I'm going to bend this, we're going to pretend that's the middle part. And grab a hold of it with the smallest part of my wires here, and let's make it a little longer. There we go. Curl it like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring it outwards a little bit, and I'm going to just pinch with my square nose, kind of close that gap a little more. If it's touching, that's fine. Okay, now open it up. There, we got a nice little leaf tip. So I'm going to come in here with the roundest part, kind of force wiggle my way in, and I'm going to curl it. There. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to open that up a little bit more, and we're going to give this guy a curl, but just slightly further down on the round nose. And there you go. Easy, simple, fast leaf. And if that's something you want to learn a little bit more in depth, do let me know, and then maybe I'll just make a beginner's video on how to do that all by itself. And just kind of shape it and pose it to where I want it to go. I think that looks good. Now, it's going obviously very just straight outwards, so I will go ahead, come in here, just start bending it more upwards. There we go. Ta-da! Now we are not only just weaving a stone, but we are taking our weave and bringing it out into an area where normally people don't really weave so much. Either they use a chain, and this is what I love about using black cord, because black always looks great with copper, but also you can't, I mean, you could do this with a chain, or you could just make a more decorative chain, or you could just make this and then put the chain on it, but then the chain's not as incorporated, not like this, where you get this feeling of growing onto. I don't know, at least that's just my thoughts. So then we're gonna come over here and do pretty much the same thing. And I'll go ahead and meet you guys on the other side. If you want more information about that, you can always just rewind and rewatch again. So, see you soon. And there we have it, all done. And I decided to go, again, since everything is so symmetrical, and I'm normally not a symmetrical kind of person, I like asymmetry. I decided to go with the asymmetry up here. Everything's pretty mirrored up until you get to the end points, and at least I have something there that feels a little bit more organic to me. And then by adding something that's organic, we can reflect the organicness of the lapis lazuli. Please do let me know if I'm saying that correctly. But for a natural stone, we're still being able to exemplify that as we go on. And I wanted to go with kind of like a morning glory kind of a look, going upwards a little bit. And I have a couple of lapis lazuli chips that I'm going to dangle from here, and I think one here, and I might do either here or here. I'm debating on whether or not if I even want to do it on a leaf or not. So yeah, just something that's up in the air at the moment. But that's pretty easy stuff to do. Right here is a good place where it can end. And if you want to know how to attach the stones, do let me know. I'll just make a beginner video on just that. It's a very simple process with an eye pin, and if I do believe I might even show it on one of my previous beginner videos. I have a chain video that pretty much shows you the same stuff. I believe it might be chain video 5, where there's a bead on it. It's very obvious it's got a bead on it, and pretty much it shows you all the basics for attaching something like that. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, comment, yada yada yada, you know everything. It does help me out a great deal when you guys do that stuff, and I'm beyond grateful for you doing it. I do have an Etsy shop if you want to help my channel and keep me in wire, so that way I can keep showing you guys projects. It's Naughty Dog Studios. And if you want to perhaps help the channel in a different way for less money, I'm more than happy to take $1 a month, and I do have a Patreon for that as well if you guys are wanting to do that. So that's the end of this video. Thank you everybody for hanging out with me today, and this video ended up ending in the gallery, so there's an echo. But I hope you all have a great day. Thanks.